welcome to my channel. This is my second live stream. Yesterday, like I told you yesterday, no delays anymore, no procrastination, just doing my work and letting you take part of it. I learned already from yesterday, we are gonna to stabilize a shorter hyperlapse this time. It's this one. These are the NEF files from Nikon electronic format, just downloaded from the Nikon page. But if you have any other camera, every camera producer, every vendor has its own codec. So in order to watch if there are any pictures which you accidentally shot while you were walking, it's perfect to delete them here and rename and renumber it here, because I don't like to cut, I don't like to edit. I hope I have always a proper and clean sequence that I don't have to mess around in After Effects somehow. So I watch it and probably it's already very clean, and especially it's a very short one. It's only 62 pictures. It wouldn't be 2.5 seconds, while 25 FPS it would only be like 2 or 3 seconds. Maybe with Twixtor or the time warp effect you could add another second, but that would be all. You cannot double that. You cannot trick around. If it's 60 pictures, it's at the end it's 60 pictures. It was quite cold this time. It was the 6th of December in 2012. It should be after I released Berlin Hyperlapse. Was like 12 o'clock midday, 11:58 a.m. until 12:26. I guess it's 28 minutes. It's only 28 minutes, but as you see, I made an increasement of the steps so I could have this zoom inside. And by the way, when I'm saying zoom, it should be here. Well, it's 300 millimeters in the last picture, and you can see it here. If you just make this make the window a little bit bigger, then you have the focal length of 18 millimeters at the beginning, and then you see an increasement of the focal length. Nice. And I guess or better, I know that I did not have a zoom lens which would be able to go from 18 to 300. Wouldn't be it nice to have an 11-600 or something, but probably the manufacturers couldn't even produce something, just for the simple reason that the physics of this planet, of this universe, couldn't have such an optical aggregate, such an optical device. Maybe in future we will see something like that, but for now it was okay to switch the lenses in between. I guess when I was in the 55 area or somewhere, I was able to take the 55-300 one, but that's another topic. So I already dropped that into the desktop, but we won't be able to just edit this, or we are able, but dudes, it's too hard to stabilize or to just watch an NEF sequence inside After Effects. I can demonstrate that. This time I already did the analysis, or better said, it was already analyzed. And as I know, I really did some stabilization manual tracking already in 2012, but I don't know where they are. I don't really know. Maybe they have been corrupted. That happens from time to time. So it's always better to keep your stuff several times somewhere there and maybe a third maybe you just take a third storage and a fourth. You cannot have enough. So what would happen if you just say, I want these NEF files to be watched and loaded here? Then you go to this symbol, right click on it, say replace footage file. You go to wherever they are. I always recommend the desktop because, you know, it's much faster. So we take the camera raw sequence here and import it. It just wants to know what I want to do with it, and I have only one XMP in this folder. I did not LRTimelapse it. That's what we are gonna do later on, after the stabilization, because this isn't, for the stabilization part, it's not so important what LRTimelapse does with that. So we go okay. Now it replaces it, and here you see it changed from JPEG to NEF. I just want to demonstrate you something. It's already on the SSD and it's already on a fast device, and the RAM preview did not do the job yet. So just watch and approximately calculate how much this would take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So at the beginning it's sometimes very slow, but as you can figure out, it's impossible to work here. Ah, good. I just thought that it's hanging, but it's just taking so long. And okay, the streaming is going on, that makes a little difference, but not that much, not that very much. It's just because every frame it has to calculate all the way again. And why we should do that like this? Why? So we just take always the exported JPEG. If you want to render in a, if you want to try out if the quality improves a little bit, then after your whole stabilization process, you can do that. You can just switch to your from the unadjusted JPEGs to the raw files again, if you want. But if they are exported well, it's okay. Just stick to that. And now you saw it, it's about 6 seconds, 7 seconds or something. And now look what happens. It's not even 1 second, right? And that's why prepare your footage and have your nice time in while you're stabilizing. You cannot afford to man, look, and while it's stabilizing you just lose time. And that's why stick to JPEG. So we can load that, we can let it load through. That doesn't make it worse. So that's the whole sequence unstabilized. And we take the lines, and just to see how much it is stable, just say that. I guess it would be better to have this full, so we can already use the already done RAM preview. See that? It looks stable, but it isn't really. It jumps from the right to the left to the right. Wherever you see, it looks, of course, on the camera screen, it looks perfect, but and it's even with the warp stabilizer already. So we don't have to do this again. We just take that one and just want you to see how stable this is. And it's not, you see. And I really took all my patience and everything. I do not really remember, because it's now 7 years. I do not really remember if I had a tripod or made it handheld. I could guess by the time of exposure, the exposure time. But this is a decent, good thing, because I had to zoom in every picture after picture. You see that? And you could say, no, don't use a warp stabilizer. You said that, you know, just try to make the less compositions out of the first one, the second one, then the third one out of the second one. No, just try to do only as less additional compositions from the first one, as we learned that it's making it more and more unsharp. And that's why here we have this 10F, 5F, 5 frames. I don't really like that. I just want to say project adjustments, project settings. Then here, Mercury only software. No, go to the GPU. And here we want the frames, of course. And this isn't so important right now. Okay, so now we have at least the frame count, a proper frame count. I don't know, maybe we say project starting with, I don't know, I forgot that. Okay, but let's say it starts from the 1, and now we are going to stabilize that. So project, here is the already, I just delete that. Now we have the warp stabilized thing, and just make that bigger to demonstrate how much it differs from the original. We have to do something. Only stabilizing, and say scale rotation. And that's what I told you. You can just have that changed even while you are letting it analyze, or later on. It doesn't make a difference, but this makes a difference. Just hit always the detail. Okay. So good. This one can load, and this one, and until here we are done. Now, as we cannot use the tracker now, we have to do another layer. Just hit that and drop it here, and we have a new and clean, but a little bit more unsharp sequence. And how we can just do it from the first one. And if you aren't sure, just double click on that and go to the effect, and now press here. It's the new one. So we know that, and that's why we say tracking. Good. We take our tracker, go to stabilize motion, go to that. And as I don't know, you see, you can barely figure out where the edges are. So before we continue, we say I want that already colorized ones. You can do it like this. You can go to that, but it doesn't make much difference. We want, and we don't want to mess around with the effects here. Just want to say file, replace file, and we go to the adjusted ones. So more vivid colors, and now I can see the edges. See? Now I can see the edges, and maybe it's even able to track that automatically. And we don't want to have this second the second tracker. As you see, it won't be able to stick on on any. You think, why aren't you going and track this? Because this is moving away in a few meters. So just track that and manually do the other things. So we are going to track that. Perfect, not perfect. Make sure this is on. So 1 and 2. And now the next one, and now the third one. We will take care of the first one later. And we make sure that we just set that. Just guessing. Again, in the middle between this two exhaust parts here. Okay. No, I am not satisfied. This is our point of reference. We are not going any closer. If you're going even closer, if it's a longer hyperlapse and it's about 400 pictures, and you even make all the way to this industrial area, then it wouldn't be that okay to just do this between that. We would have to have a more proper point of interest, and not like that. So hi, X, you're again there. I will of course watch your playlist of the stacking and the Photoshop process. Thank you very much for mentioning that. So we say, we go to lines and make Make sure we are on lines, in the lines. Yes, it's just a little tool to see and have a more defined edge. And I don't want it to be here, I just want it to be there, a little bit down under. So good. Okay, just for demonstration. And hopefully this cloud, this smog, isn't in the way again. So this would, yes, I think that's the edge. So I adjust that here as well, because I know now when I look forward a little bit that it won't be easy if I say, okay, I want this. What is this? This is not defined, but this is defined. It's the top notch edge, and that's where I can stick on. You have to know where it's gonna to be later on, and that's why I watched a little bit further, so I could define that. So again, it helps me to define my spot. Even when nothing is there anymore, I can just stick to that spot, because with the line tool I know exactly where it is. And now it's difficult a little bit, huh? But not for us. We go to this tool and say, okay, the last one, at least I know where this is now. Okay, maybe it's here, or maybe it's here, but we don't know yet. We just check that later. Here's no problem again. Just commented from my new friend. And as I mentioned it's if I would be, it couldn't be something more boring to watch, but I told you I have to do this anyway. And while thinking about editing and planning, I just want to do it, and if somebody wants to join, he can, and if not, it's no problem. It's one or two claps, flies with one clap. So, and here, and now I have to decide, because this will continue. The left exhaust will be a little bit more up, and the left one a little bit more down. So do I want to have the right one in line, or the right one? I decide for this. You see that? Now you see what I mean. It's a 2D image of a 3D world, and that's why it makes a little bit trouble. Good. Okay, let's see what we can do here. And we are through almost. Like I said, I want to have this one. So, not so bad. But I really want to look at the sequence later. Not now. I want to have a look at that later. It's, of course, I can't wait sometimes. I watch frame by frame, but isn't it takes longer time then. I'm curious how it looks now, but it really will increase the time. And we could have a more proper edge, but I know it's the middle here. You could just stick to one edge here, the right one or the left, but I want to have this between, that there's more room for adjusting it later. And I don't want to be too strict. And the line tool is very helpful if there are obstacles like X for shizzlex. I don't know how to spell that. X for shizzlex. Thank you. It helps me to overcome my lamp fever. At least we are live, like life. Like the life is life. Has no scripts. You cannot script something, or you could, but yeah, it's not authentical. But for those who are looking forward to a tutorial, I've already done it. Just one more few days. It's only because of the music, and I have to re-edit it because of the music. I couldn't use what I used. Okay, now there's the first time I'm actually not knowing how I should do that, and because we have no other points of reference here. We could use that before, but then we have this most of the times not visible. So what does that help us? Nothing. It helps us nothing. I want always the smallest common denominator, and this was this spot. Most of the times, of course, it's the spot where you have been looking through the viewfinder and photographed this spot. Of course, you can decide, and as I did, I made it very, very hard for me sometimes to stabilize it later on because of my point of interest. So, but we want to just check what did it help. And I just want to see. And at the beginning, there's a little bit of moving to the left. There's no problem. I just show you something right now. Just show you. Just wait. I just explained it to a viewer that we could have do the red dot, but as we saw, it's most of the times it's hidden, and here it's not even visible properly. Look, it's not defined very well. Look, and here it's, you see, here we could at least have this spot here. You can barely guess where the edge is, and here it wouldn't be so nice. Maybe we could try that on another sequence. You can just say, hey, try this, try that, and it's really helpful for me that even you mentioned that. Thank you. Maybe you do the live streams of your Photoshop tutorials, huh? I don't know. So again, let's see where are the problems here? Where is the problem here? And now I take this and say here and make this, and now we can compare what happens here, what happens here, what happens here, happens here, and just say save that. Yes, it's okay. It's converted because it was on the CS6 version. It has to convert, but we go back to the CS14 at least to render out my favorite tamponaut value, you know, these QuickTime JPEGs 96% quality. So this helps us a little bit. We go to this problem here, and we go to the first point where it's really proper, and say apply. It changes, but this is a set point. There are no, yes, of course you can go back, but if you continue with one wrong point, it's a little bit more tricky to readjust that little mistake on everything there. Like, you can just mark them all and set them to another point. It's no problem, but I want even that to be I want to avoid that for sure. So we go to this and say, okay, this one is set now, and I want the thing before to be proper, like that. And this is going up. So this is going up. Here's the set point. Here, this is going up. So we don't know where we are. But I show you something. If this is okay, and you want this to be at the same value like that, just go here. And because this is too much up, this is too much up. So this on the tracking layer, it has also to go up like that. And now it's going down. You see? This is okay. This wasn't. And now it's okay. We can continue. It depends on the stream in whole. You cannot compare 1 and 2 pictures and say, I can continue like that. No, it's not like that. So this is okay, this is okay. This is a little bit too up, and that's why I give him a little bit room. When he wants to go up here, he tries to go up, he wants to go up, then give him room on the right side, and the left side will decrease. Just strengthen the right side here, the tracking area, and the left side will go down. And this is a little bit too up, and that's why I give him a little bit up. Because if I give him a little bit up, he will go down. It's a little bit too up. Check. Apply, and done. And this is okay, I think. But this is too far to the left. It's okay. This one is okay. And this one is too far to the left. So if the left goes too far to the left, here it goes too far to the left, I will give him a little bit of room to the left. And see what happens. It goes back in the right position. I try to tell you again, if this side, if your footage is left, right, down, up, you have to do the same on the tracking side. If the footage side is too much down, you have to increase this square a little bit more down, you know. And it's, in this case, it's really depending on that little cross here. The out tracker is only for where it has to search. The inside is what it has to search. But this is the point of reference, not that or not that. It's this, okay? In terms of tracking and searching in automatic, this has something to do. This is important, and this as well. But for manual tracking, for setting the point, it's only that. So this is okay. This is a little bit too left and a little bit too up. And guess what? We have to do a little bit left and a little bit up, and then we are done. Still a little bit to the left. So still a little bit to the left. And good. And here a little bit too up and a little bit too left. Just one click with the arrow left and up. And now it's a little bit to right. So click, click, and should be good now. A little bit too up, and this as well, up and up. So because this and until here it's a little bit too up, just go X and say no, go down, and now we have to do it here, not there, right? And it's the feature center. So if this is too much up, we go up, say apply, now it goes down. And because this and this is also a little bit too up, we mark that, the 3, and while it's still marked, go and say, and please watch what happens. Just have to check one more time. If you want all of the 4, just say see, and it's completely aligned with the values of this one. They will go the same amount, the same ratio as I move this. So I don't have to readjust all of them. If I made one little mistake, I can just adjust them all by one. So they go down, and now we're good to go. And here again, at least I can see it already here. Okay, apply. And it's a little bit too up. So go up, Ben. Go up. Now it's going to... Oh, it's a little bit to the right. So I give him more room to the right. And then it will go to the left. That's all. And this is a little bit too up. And I give him more room. Just try out. It's still too much up. Still too much. And 1 with the shift button should be do the job. Yes. And this as well. Just hit apply. Tack, tack, tack. A little bit to right, to the left, to the right. So I give him more room to the right. Good. And here it's a little bit too up, because you cannot see really in these distances. At least this one is okay, I guess, but this isn't, so just move that here. And this as well. And that's good because the lines help us to overcome the obstacles. This isn't perfect, of course. I would take 2 hours, 3 hours, and it's not necessary to show that on live stream now. I did that yesterday until like 1 hour or 40, and it's really not necessary. I will upload the finished videos later, or at least I can show them. So no need for taking this too detailed here. It's already detailed because it's live. Going to the left here and going to the right, and now, oh wow, this is too much down, right? This is too much down for sure, and we can see that again. This is too much down, and that's why I go to the right side to the tracking window and say apply, and it's going up. And because this is too much down, I have to down this one, and then it's going up. It's always the opposite. What this side is doing, you have to do it on the right side. That's how you can remember always, what was that? Why? Look, if you go to the if you would stabilize it here, it's completely intuitive. You want it up, you turn it up. You want that down, the original footage, then it goes down, of course. But on the tracker it's completely opposite. And this is even happening when you, for example, go to the other tracking checkboxes for rotation and scale. It's the same. Always the opposite. Always the opposite. If you want the footage to go a little bit on a degree to clockwise, then you have to turn the line here. You have to turn it to the clockwise. I will show that later. I cannot explain something I'm not actually doing. That doesn't make sense. So it's going down, but always question yourself: is it really going down in the wrong way, or is it just because the zoom? This is a mistake for sure. It's going a little bit to the right. See? A little bit too much to the right, and of course we cannot see anything. That's why it's happening. So cool. And a little bit to the right, so I go here to the right and say good. And until here is okay, and here is okay as well, but I can't see something. And I don't want to switch the point of reference. I can do that. I can just say another tracker, but dudes, I really like one proper tracker. I did this 1,000 times with 2, 3, 5, 20 trackers, 20 different trackers, but if I use 20 trackers, I could just do it manually with this. It's the same amount of times sometimes, and especially when it's not really going, when it loses the spot, when the tracker loses the spot, like every 2 pictures you go forward and it loses the pictures, it loses the point of reference again. Why the hell shouldn't you just do it in the position scaling and rotation? Think about. Well, so, and this is a little bit too down, so we are going to take this down. Oh. Okay. 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 And it's going down, and that's why 1, 2, 3, 4, and apply. And it's a little bit to the right, so I'm going to make this. And this is okay. And this is going down, but is it because of the zoom? I guess. So it should be okay right here. And this is a little bit to the, I think it's a little bit to the left. Oh. Ah, if you lose that, just to hit the tracker here, and then you can just do and continue with the arrows again. So, okay, apply. And a little bit to the left again. A little bit to the left. Hit apply and say, okay, where is this spot? At least we know that it's somewhere there in the middle, but we don't know where this is. We don't just see it. And I accidentally hit the spot almost perfectly. So a little bit too down, I give him a little bit down. And this. Okay. Now we have to watch how this is moving. This is going too much to the right. See? To the right and a little bit too up. So I move because I cannot see nothing here. I go just again. And now the size doesn't change, so very well. Cool. Apply, don't know. Okay. At least the tracker. Just compare that. This was only the warp stabilizer. This was only the warp stabilizer. And like you couldn't sell that. And here is the 1-point tracker additional stabilization. And I think for now it's completely okay to demonstrate what's even possible with only one track point. Yesterday I did a live stream of a not so big exhaust. It was a small one, and it wasn't so harmful like that one. In this area, I will link the area where I have been. That would be a nice idea, I think, so you can see how it looks. But what the warp stabilizer did, the little rotations, it already stabilized the shakiness in terms of rotation. It messed up the position, but it made a good job with the rotation. It's better than the original. Look, see original? Hello, okay. Sorry. That is the original. And there have been some see that? The rotations are something we all know it's a little bit hard to do perfectly, even with a line, even with a water measure, you know, this with the little bubbles inside, or with a digital one, or with a digital one inside of your camera. It has only like 12 points, like 12 little interface lines. You cannot just rely on that. It's not so accurate enough, the one inside your viewfinder or inside your live view. And that's why we always have this goggling sequences, and that's what I think the warp stabilizer does quite a good job. He can level very good, or at least you save time with it. You can combine both strengths, both forces, your own, and rely on the warp stabilizer as well. So I think finishing, and that we are under 1 hour, it would be, I would suggest me and myself to just even have more preparations, and that can go down to like 20 minutes. It's okay, but for the beginning, it's just good to have a base, like a base. And as I said, usually, and I will continue to this, I will continue. See it? It's very good.